Namaste. Welcome back to our 9th session of Karma Demystified. We are almost completing what we were originally planned. So probably next week we will talk about the Karma Yoga, and then probably one more session is needed. So that's where we stand. But today what we are going to cover probably is the most important topic. We learned a lot about karma. How do we apply that? Today, whatever we are talking is 100% practical. This is not mysticism. This is not a philosophy, but how do we face life? So the title is Karma and Effort. How do we navigate life's current intelligently? This is such an important topic. I will start with my thought, and Avanti can supplement that after that. Let's get started. As always, we wanted to make sure that we are grounding on the facts. So the first point is what we covered so far. So please keep this in mind. I'm going to put the slides immediately after the class. We defined karma clearly. We saw the two dimensions of karma and we classified it properly. And we explained what is Drishtaphala and Adrishtaphala. And we covered three types of karma: Sanchita, Prarabdha, and Agami. And we shown the effort plus karmic influence, the role of self-effort versus the karmic influence. And finally, last week or the week before that, we broken the myth of fatalism, because a lot of people equate karma as fate. That's what we dismissed, kind of using the Bhagavad Gita shloka also we took and we reviewed. So now the question is, how do I act wisely under the karmic influence? We talked about the fact that our self-effort alone is not going to make the difference for the results. Definitely there will be karmic influence. So how should I act wisely under the karmic influence? So you need effort. Along with your effort, there will be karmic influence. But there is a third part, intelligent response. We haven't covered that yet. So we definitely know that effort is needed, meaning the karma is going to influence our action and results. And how do I intelligently respond to the karmic influence so that I will grow and I will be succeeded? This is the whole idea. Life is not random, but it is not fixed also. So it is in between, and you have to act wisely. And that is the skill you need to learn. And when you learn to act with that skill, then your karma becomes a yoga. So this is how Bhagavan defines karma yoga as yoga karmasu kaushala in the second chapter. So what we learned so far, obviously, I know that I'm covering in a different dimension. So karma means action plus unseen influences. Every action produces drishtaphala, adrishtaphala. And the result will depend upon multiple factors. We have seen 5 factors. And we control the effort, but not all the outcome. So influence of karma doesn't mean that helplessness. So we need to understand. So how do we act? First of all, let's understand what is that core equation. Every outcome is dependent upon mainly 2 forces. One is self-effort. We have seen that as Prayatna, plus karmic influence, which is the karmic factors. So the effort is present, influence is inherited, and the result is an interaction of these 2. So we are a contributor. We definitely are the contributor. We definitely have a role, but we are not the sole contributor. This is the whole point of the karma theory. In the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, we will see this karmanyeva adhikaraste. We will see that later. But we need to understand that we are definitely a contributor, but we are not the sole contributor. So we need to understand the connection between self-effort and the karmic influence. So now, what is karmic influence? How does that manifest in our day-to-day life? It can manifest as favorable circumstances. It can manifest as resistance or delays. It can manifest as timing factors. It can manifest as hidden variables. It can manifest as unexpected support or obstacles. There are different ways the karmic influence can manifest in our day-to-day life. So it is not random. It is not emotional. It is part of natural order. This we need to understand. And our actions in the past has contributed it. That also we need to keep in mind. So the whole idea is the karma shapes the field. So a cricket batsman going to a field, sometimes it will be a very easy batting wicket. Even if he just throw the bat, the ball will go to the boundary. But in some situations, the ball will not come to the bat at all. Like, it is very difficult. But so that field is karma. Whereas, how does that batsman decide to play? It is in his hand. So, not your response. The karma shapes the field, not your response. So, where do we have control? We do have control in our self effort, prayatna, and also we do have control. How do we strategize? How do I execute my karma? This is what we need to focus on. And this is what the karma teaches us. So now the thing is that how does that karma can influence in our life? There are 5 scenarios. The scriptures talks about that. The first scenario is strongly favorable karma. When the results exceed the effort, or you are swimming in the direction of the reverse flow. So you don't need to put any effort. You just need to be there. What is going to happen? You will get the results. So this is scenario number 1. Strongly favorable karma. When the results exceed the effort. Let's say that if you put 1 unit of effort and you are getting 10 units of results. So the signs, how do you recognize that? The opportunities flow very easily. Unexpected support comes from all places. The fast growth. So how should you respond to that situation? The scripture tells, stay humble, because there is always a risk of getting into arrogance and compliancy and ethical compromise. Some people, they do a lot of, meaning when everything goes in their hand, they do a lot of unethical things. So stay humble, always align with dharma, and maximize the results responsibly. That word is very important. All these are, even though it looks like not a scriptural thing, everything is coming from the scripture. So grace, whatever you have, or the karmic favor, one should handle with responsibility. Like, if you get more, share with other people, support other people, don't compromise dharma, don't be arrogant. Understand the fact that sometimes I'm getting the shots right because of the karmic circumstances. It's definitely not my own self-effort alone. So we need to understand and be humble and try to maximize it. So this is scenario number 1. Let's go to the scenario number 2. So here, moderately favorable karma. When the efforts produce steady results, definitely the results will be there. Some resistance will be there, but the proportional return will be always there. So what you have to do? Be disciplined. You need to refine the skill and system improvement, because it is not just your effort alone is going to determine the results. You need to ensure that your atishtana, meaning karana, all those things are improved, maintained, properly connected, everything. So this is how you should respond. And again, here the risk is overconfidence and the hidden compliancy. So this zone is considered as the zone for sustainable growth, because if you are in scenario 1, the probability of growth will sometimes it will be less, unless otherwise you are a really matured person, because a lot of people will carried away by the success and they fail to grow. Even though the success will be there, you won't grow. So this is considered as one of the most favorable situation for growth. And the next one is neutral karma. Your effort and the results are equal. There is no push, there is no pull. In the other 2 cases, there are some push. So stable conditions, ordinary outcomes, nothing more, like usual life. So here the response is, again, build the competence, strengthen the mindset, and prepare for the shifts. This is the responses one should do. The risk is, again, comparison, anxiety. Like, you see that, okay, I work in this company, I didn't get the promotion, the other person did that. Like, we both came to this country at the same time, he is here, or his daughter has gone to Ivy League. All these things will come. And passive drifting is another risk for the neutral karma. Again, the neutral phase is again an opportunity for growth. It can build future strength if you use it wisely. So this is the 3rd scenario. Now the 4th scenario is moderately adverse karma. So when the effort faces resistance, if you put 10 units of effort, you are getting only 8 units of results. So the signs are delays, sometimes frustration, meaning disproportionate effort. You put effort and you're not getting the results as much as you put the effort. So the responses are adjust the strategy, increase the capacity means the other resources, change the route if that is needed, or shift the timing. These are some of the responses given by the scriptures. It's like sometimes emotional in escalation, like blind persistence, the victim mentality. All these are some of the risk here. Increase intelligence, not frustration. That is the lesson given by the scriptures. So in Ramayana and Bhagavata and Mahabharata, you will see stories related to each of these things. How people responded well and how people responded badly on each of these scenarios. So scenario 5, strongly adverse karma. Like when the current is too strong, you cannot swim at all. If you swim, you will drown. Repeated failures like exhaustion, severe mismatch. The response is pause, conserve the energy, redefine the goal, inner stabilization, do some practices. The risk is you will get bitterness, you will start believing in the fate, and you can collapse. So don't get into that trap. Plan your response. If things don't go in your way, like pause, do once, meaning try to see how can you tactically manage, conserve the energy, and approach the strategy differently. So wisdom includes knowing when not to fight. Famous quote from Mahabharata. Wisdom is not just knowing when you should fight. Wisdom includes knowing when not to fight also. So these are the 5 different scenarios. Like this is just a nice chart. Strongly favorable. The signs are there, like opportunities, flow, rapid success. How do you respond? And moderately favorable, like the third one is neutral, the fourth one is adverse, and fifth one is strongly adverse. When it is strongly adverse, step back. Now, if you put this into an adaptive decision framework, all these 5 scenarios, ask these 5 questions. Again, this is coming from Mahabharata. So ask these 5 questions. The first question is my action aligned with dharma? This is the first thing that cannot be compromised at all. Is my action, is my strategy correct? Is my capacity sufficient? Is the timing appropriate? Am I reacting emotionally? Then choose, depending upon, to intensify my work or adjust my work or redirect my work or wait and do a little bit later, or finally, if nothing is working, withdraw. That is also a sign of wisdom. So the response determines success and future karma, because the way you respond, if response, meaning it depends how you will succeed and how you acquire the future karma. So this is an adaptive decision framework from the Mahabharata based on the rules of karma. So now, sometimes what happens is when the effort reaches its limit, is there still an option? And the scripture says, yes, there is an option. And that option is known as prayer. Like you tried the right strategy, you increased your skill, you adjusted your approach, you waited patiently, you acted alignment with dharma. Still nothing is working. You withdraw, yet resistance continues. At this point, what happens? The frustration grows. But Vedanta tells you are not helpless. Still, there is one more intelligent response. And that response is known as prayer. So this prayer, it's not an escape. It is a conscious action with the knowledge that my effort alone is not sufficient. This is the prayer. Let's see, meaning I'm going to talk more about the prayer a little bit later in the Bhagavad Gita, but on a high level, prayer is not passive. Prayer is also a karma. It can be manasam karma, a prayer you do mentally. It can be vachikam karma. Remember, we classified the karma like this earlier. And it can be physical karma, kaikam karma. So, and like every karma, like what is the nature of every karma? It produces 2 types of results, drishta phala and adrishta phala. So what is the drishta phala, or the visible effect of prayers? It calms you down. It will reduce the anxiety. It will give you clarity. It will give you emotional stability. With that clear, calm mind, you yourself will be able to solve the problem much better. The probability will increase. So this is the drishta phala of prayer, prarthana. And now, what is the adrishta phala of the prarthana? It gives you inner strength. It gives subtle positive influences. And above all, it will attract the divine grace. What is divine grace? We are going to talk more in the Bhagavad Gita a little bit later. On a simple level, divine grace is like, it is what you're doing is when you're aligned with the cosmic order, you can see that the cosmic energy comes to you. So it's like a ship. So if you keep the direction of the ship aligned with the wind's flow, what is going to happen? You can see that the wind will carry the ship. That's exactly what is divine grace. You're making yourself eligible to tap that divine potential. That is what is divine grace. So the prayer is going to make you eligible for that. Let's say that there is a rainfall and I'm very thirsty. I want water. So I need to go out and hold my hand like this so that I can hold water and drink. So it is that process which is going to make you eligible to receive that all flowing mercy from the divine. The prayer is going to do that. And this is the biggest power of prayer. The prayer will attract that grace. Please understand that the God is not somebody who is just freely distributing grace because of X or Y or Z. The logic here is it is the result of the prayer. Prayer itself is an action, and every action has a result, drishtapala and adrishtapala. And if you do that sincere prayer, and that sincere prayer has an adrishtapala, and that adrishtapala is divine grace. So God is not giving, there is no free lunch. So this is how you earn the divine grace. Anybody is interested in divine grace, there's a beautiful book called Divine Grace by Swami Renkanathananda. You can read that. It is a small booklet. It's beautiful. In that book, he discusses the divine grace in different angles. So the whole idea is the prayer strengthens the actor, and the strengthened actor can act better. So the prayer is not going to take the karmic influences away, but it is going to make you perfectly fit to stand that shock. The shock is going to be there, but there will be an absorber which absorbs some of that shock. So this is again from Mahabharata. It's just a English translation, but it's very powerful. Prayer strengthens the actor, and the strengthened actor acts better. That is Mahabharata tells. It's beautiful. So this is the intelligent order of response. Act with effort, Prayatna. Second one is refine strategy, build capacity, adjust timing, and when limits are reached, pray. And effort drives the action, and wisdom adjusts the direction. Again, this comes from Mahabharata. So you need both that direction and effort. Then only you will be successful. Most of the time, we don't have that direction. And that is what is the education of karma is going to do you. And prayer strengthens the traveler. So if you really look at that 3 bullet points, effort drives action, wisdom adjusts the direction, and the prayer strengthens the traveler. With these 3, the probability is very high. And this is what you can do to deal with even the difficult karmic influences. Finally, as I said, like the effort drives the action, wisdom adjusts the direction, and the prayer strengthens the traveler. So this is the central insight from everything we discussed so far. Karma determines the conditions and you determine the response. This is very important. This is where we say that this is not fate. Karma determines the directions and you determine the response. That is in my hand. So conditions are inherited, response is chosen, and future is shaped now with my response. And freedom lies in that response, not in the influence. Again, one more time. Karma determines the condition and you determine the response. And the conditions are inherited and the response is chosen. And the freedom lies in that response. So a quick recap of what we said. Outcome of any result is effort plus influence, and conditions like the vary, and intelligence adaptation is the key. That is very important. Intelligent adaptation. Reaction creates future karma. Stabilization strengthen the response. This is how to respond to the karmic influences. All this is coming from Mahabharata. Everything is coming from Mahabharata. Didn't take any other scripture. This is brilliantly covered in different parts of Mahabharata. This is why Mahabharata is considered as a 5th Veda. It has that much treasure. So now, in the next session, we talked about the action is important. Along with that, that directioning is important. How to set that direction is what we saw today. And now, how should you act is also important. And that is what we are going to see in the next session. But let me hand over to Avanti for her comments on this topic.
So I just happened to see the chat question. If you can open your chat, it says, can we pray for others as well? Will it help them? So let's start with that. So it'll be going a bit ulta, but we can start from there. So can we pray for others? Absolutely. That is all you can do for others. The problem is when we start getting knowledge, we start jumping into other people's lives and trying to correct their lives, trying to make their lives better. But again and again, I have said that Sri Krishna was standing next to Arjuna and he didn't change anything for Arjuna. Two things he did. One thing is he spoke the knowledge, but that was because he was Krishna. But most importantly, throughout his life, he led by example. So the only way that we can change other people's life will be by leading through example with whatever we've studied. Prayer, we cannot pray. See, we can't even pray for ourselves. God, please change the circumstance. Pray as much as you want. It's not going to change. So when we are praying for ourselves also, what are we praying for? Lord, give me the wisdom, give me the courage, give me the acceptance to be able to handle what lies in front of me. So the same way we have to pray for others is that let them become wise. Let knowledge come into their life. Let them find the right, space to enact this knowledge. Let them have the power to change their own lives. So just simply answering this question, when we ourselves cannot change our circumstances through prayer, radically change our circumstances through prayer, how is it possible to help others change their circumstances through prayer? Please get this very, very strongly. There's that one-off chance of miracles, yes, but if you're going to get into prayer with the hope of miracle, the prayer is not going to work anyways, because the entire continuum of grace rests upon the fact that we do not expect anything. We just do what we have to do, but we do not expect anything in return. That is called Nishkama Karma, which we will come to eventually. Now, we started this session by saying that acting wisely under karmic influences, correct? Please understand one thing is that we have said this many, many sessions ago. The solution, the single solution to all our problems and even our fear of karma, whether we are going through karma or whether we are anticipating karma, the solution to all of it is self-realization. Who remembers that? There's only one solution to all our problems, it is self-realization. And self-realization happens once in a million lifetimes, correct? That's what the Bhagavad Gita says. Even if you haven't yet come across it, I think many of you have studied the Bhagavad Gita quite a few times. It's not something that I do 5 Gita classes and I'm self-realized and all my problems have gone. It is a process. But do understand that as you go along the process, there will be a disidentification, very slow, very subtle, very gradual disidentification from the body, the mind, the intellect complex. Please, and we've already studied this in the Bhagavad Gita. We've touched upon it in chapter 2. We will go into great depth after that. Is that karma is not coming to Atma, which we essentially are. What is karma coming to? When Krishna tells Arjuna, you are not killing any of these people and neither are these people being killed by you. You'll stand up and say, hello, Mr. Arjuna is standing over there and killing Mr. Duryodhana and Shakuni and whoever else is standing over there. How can you say that? Because the main punch of Bhagavad Gita is you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, you are the Atma. And that Atma does not accrue any karma. Right now, why are we so obsessed over karma and what should we do and what we shouldn't do is because of our total and gross involvement with the body, mind, and intellect. As long as you think, I am the body, I am doing this, you will get the karma. Good, bad, indifferent doesn't matter. As long as you think, I am the mind, your emotional reactions, which we're going to talk about a lot because that's the root of our problems, our emotional reactions in the moment, is going to accrue karma. As long as you think, I am this intelligent intelligence, your thoughts, The opposition of your thoughts, the agreement to your thoughts is going to create karma. Now, we've touched upon this as well. Anybody here can give me a one-word answer to what is it that we have to remove from this equation that we have with life to start loosening this grip. One word action, one word. What in us is continuously binding us to this karma?
Ego.
It's a verb. Very close, Arnav. Excellent.
Attachment.
Yes. But where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? That's the important question.
Desires.
Okay, it's come in the chat from Lisa. I am the doer. So very close, Arnav, ego. The minute now we start making an elbow room, remember we had studied that word nimitta matram also before. The minute we start creating elbow room, yes, I, as in my body, mind, and intellect, is in this action, but I am just being a nimitta for this action to be completed, this word to be said, this thought to be expressed, and that's it. The minute we say, I am doing, all of it, everything, all your answers were fairly close. Desire comes in, desire for outcome comes in. And we've already studied this. As long as there is doership, as long as there is an obsession over the outcome, there is going to be karma. So at the onset, if we start understanding that we have to start loosening it, is it going to loosen overnight? Impossible. It's not possible to drop all our attachments, our I-ness overnight. But that is why we have to go steadily, slowly through each chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. When we start understanding our own folly in what we are doing, this whole karmic loop will start loosening. Okay, now if you just want to go back to the Shastras, okay, how do we do this? Yes, there are very practical ways of doing it. We talked about self-realization, right? The only way that we can get rid of all our problems is self-realization. As long as we do not understand we are the self, we will be affected with whatever is happening to our body, the mind, and the intellect. This is written in stone. So how? Now let's go back to a Shastric imprint. For any of us to be even sitting in this Bhagavad Gita class, we have to have a baseline foundation of 4 things. It won't be unfamiliar what I'm going to say. One is Viveka, right? What is Viveka? Discernment. Ask yourselves, why am I in this Bhagavad Gita class? There is something that is keeping on changing in this world, day after day, night after night. There is something that is constantly affecting me negatively from these changes that are happening around me. And yet I am trying to find permanent happiness or a permanent solution or a permanent peace in this impermanent change that is a constant onslaught in my life. There's got to be something that does not change. At some level, in a different language, in your own understanding, isn't that the reason why you're in the Bhagavad Gita class? So you already have a base level differentiation ability within your mind, which is Viveka. This is something that is troubling me. I want to find what is it in me or above me. Right now, many of us are pitching it up in the heavens, some god or some karmic accountant. What is it that can ease my troubles forever? Right? So first quality is Viveka. We all have it in some way, in a little way. There is a difference. I care, I bother. There are millions who don't even bother, who are out drinking in the pubs right now. You bother to find out what there is, Viveka. Next is Vairagya, renunciation. For our level in the Grahastha ashrama, please, I holler from the mountaintops, it does not mean giving up anything. Even if you try, you will not be able to give up. Okay? Giving up is a natural product of spiritual understanding, and you don't give up. Those things just leave your awareness, leave your peripheries, leave your life. There's no active giving up anywhere. Please understand this very, very clearly. So what are we giving up? Why do I say we are qualified here to sit in this Bhagavad Gita? Because we also have the second quality, which is Vairagya. The Gita will act as a mirror. Okay? A plain, stark, honest, brutal mirror and will start showing you various faults in you. Now, the faults are not only in you, in me, in everybody. Human beings come with human frailties. So those human frailties, those human flaws, which are unique, which all of us have, but we have different flaws. So those flaws become very apparent to us. And if you're studying the Gita week after week, contemplating upon it, implementing it, I assure you, you will be able to recognize your faults. People go to therapists to say, please help me. What am I missing? The Bhagavad Gita, though it was given to one Arjuna, if you understand it right, it will show you what you are missing from your own life. So what does Vairagya in this respect? The minute you start recognizing the flaw, you try to give up that flaw. In giving up that flaw, there is no giving up of house, there is no giving up of job, there is no giving up of relationships. The funny thing is that all those flaws will start rearing their ugly heads within the job, within the home, within the relationships, with your superiors, with your friends, with your family. Are you able to, at each instant, a little bit, give up your own flaws? That is the second quality. The third quality is a mixture. It's called Shat Sampati. It's got 6 qualities in that. What are the qualities? First of all is Shama, which we will study quite a bit in chapter 2. Simply loosely translated is mind control, which means equanimity. So all of y'all, I am sure, even those who are absolutely fairly new to the subject, have some sort of equanimity compared to just going roaring after everything that happens to you. See, relate this all to what are we trying to address? We are trying to address transcending our karmic influences. Without having equanimity, especially when Rajeshji spoke about one particular very adverse karma that is playing out in our life, if we don't have mind control, if something adverse is going to happen to us, our uncontrolled mind is going to lash out at it, right or wrong. Your first reaction is going to be, why me? I don't deserve this. I've been such a phenomenal person. How dare this happen? So unless you have that equanimity in whatever little way that you can have, you're not going to be able to nullify that karmic influence and go from absolutely adverse to somewhat workable. So equanimity, which we will study in great detail, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, that the highest yoga is to be able to bear that constancy, that evenness of mind and joy and sorrow. The second Shat Sampati is Dhamma, sense control. Now, again, like I said, whoever's on this class and is not in the Bhagavad Gita, please make sure you stay with the Gita Odyssey series. Okay? Because the Bhagavad Gita has been given to Arjuna who's fighting in a battle. The maximum instructions are around the second quality, sense control. It begins and ends. If you look at many verses from the bottom and the top, you will see spiritual practice begins and ends with sense control. If you don't have that in your hand, there's no hope for ascension at all. So second quality is sense control. Why do I say that Dhamma? Why do I say that we all have it? Like I said, we could have done anything tonight, but we are here. We are able to control our senses for 1 hour on a Tuesday night. And I'm sure a lot of you are attending other classes also. I'll take this opportunity to say we have many other classes going. If you're not a part of that, we have the Ramayana classes going. We have the Divine Wisdom, which is Saundarya Lahari going. Okay, so please join those classes also, because the more you listen, the more you will be able to interpret even the Gita. And the good thing is that all of them are being connected to our style of teaching. So you will not get lost. When we say stick to one style of teaching, all these different texts will give you that kind of an insight. So restraint of senses. The third would be Uparati. See, this is what I was saying. Uparati is a general withdrawal from the world. Again, going back to karma, the more you interact with the world fully with your emotional mind, the more karma you are going to accrue. That's a given. Okay. So Uparati does not necessarily mean coming out of the world and saying goodbye to all your social interactions, your job and family. It means a withdrawal from that passionate engagement with life that we have, which happens with the Bhagavad Gita. I promise you, 10 years hence, so many things that are drowning you just now, you laugh, it won't even matter. Because there's a immediate withdrawal from your reactions, from your unruly mind lashing out to whatever's happening. So that Uparati has to happen slowly. The next one is Titiksha. We've already studied this in chapter 2. We will study it in greater detail now. Titiksha is that forbearance with a smile. Another very important aspect in handling karma. Something bad has happened to me. How many of us can smile and say, it's okay, I'll get through it? Titiksha. If you don't have titiksha, there is no way you can handle the unfavorable or somewhat favorable, or even I would say very good karma, because you're going to ruin it for yourself. So that titiksha, to just hold in place that yes, titiksha cannot come without acceptance. I hope we all have understood nothing is happening to us that we haven't caused. I hope we've all understood there's no God up there rolling dice and saying, okay, this one I'm going to give this one I'm going to give that. It's not. Whatever we've done has matured. What stands before us is our own doing from the past. Good, bad, indifferent doesn't matter. We do not judge in the present. Okay. But we have titiksha. Okay, if I am the cause, then oftentimes in the cause, there is a solution. So we find the solution. So to be able to respond and not react, we have to have that titiksha. We have to be, if something comes and we just shut the door and say, sorry, no, I don't want to deal with this, you think it's going to go away? You might leave the person, you might leave the job, you might leave the situation. But lo and behold, if that is something that needs to teach you, evolve you, nullify itself, it will come in another form. So titiksha, that forbearance to be able to take the right action, take the next step. Shraddha, we touched upon this as well. Shraddha is faith. Loosely translated, it is faith, but it is not faith. Faith is the initial step, the first step. So many people over here, oh, can you add this one to this group? Okay, one person came, listened to the class, found some benefit, and told a friend, you know what, this class is not bad. We should come and try and listen in. That friend who comes to the class came with Shraddha, not for the subject, Shraddha for that friend. They know this friend talks sense. Okay, they talk sense, let me go for this class. Let me go see what it is. So Shraddha brings you to the subject. Faith brings you to the subject. But what is Shraddha? You stick with that subject. You pull on that subject. You haggle with that subject. You bend and break that subject to the point where you understand the subject. That is Shraddha. I believe in something that I know. I believe, for now, I believe in something that I know until I know what I believe in. You understand? So Shraddha is that. I believe in something till I know, and I stretch it with all my purushartha, with all my effort, until I know for sure, beyond every shadow of doubt, this is true. What I believed in was true. So again, with the Bhagavad Gita, you have to stay for the 18 chapters, whether with us or with anybody else. Understand each verse, understand each tenet, each teaching, build it. Only then, that last verse in the Bhagavad Gita where he says, where there is a Krishna, the supreme yogi, and where there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, you will see miracles. Very loosely, I've translated it. So to get to the final verse of chapter 18, you have to stick with the subject. That is Shraddha. And finally, the sixth Shad Sampati is Samadhana, contentment. Why is there so much debate over karma, what to do, what not to do? I don't want karma, I don't want. Whether you want, whether you don't want, everything you say, you do, you feel is going to accrue karma. There is no two ways about it. We are continuously with every action getting a consequence. The problem over here is we are very fine with our good consequences in life. We don't want the wrong consequences. What is samadhana then in that context of karma? Be satisfied. Whatever is coming to you, if you can do it, handle it with wisdom, with effort, and with shraddha, it will work out for your highest good. The whole thing is, everything that you confront in life, you have to come out better, not bitter. That will be your answer to yourself by your God. Yes, this karma has been settled. If a karma comes, you become bitter, you become resentful. Some of those words were there in the slides. Please go back to the slides. You have exasperated that karma. But if you've learned the lesson, that's it. The karma closes, it disappears. And I've seen that in my life. The most horrendous of karmas just dissipate when the lesson is learned. And another quote that I go by is, whatever you resist in life persists. What you accept dissolves. Right now, things come to us. No, I don't want this. I don't want this. Go to this guru, please ease this karma. Go to that guru, please ease that karma. It's not, it cannot be. So that is what we have to try and understand, is that content, samadhana. Samadhana means contentment also of understanding. Okay, this is it. Now I have all the tools. I've attended 9-10 sessions of Karma Demystified series. I very well understand what exactly is happening. I'm not very happy with what is happening, but can I use the tools that are being given to me in these classes to try and respond well? Between stimulus is whatever comes from the world. Now, whether it's your karma or it's somebody standing in front of you. Between stimulus and your response, there is a pause. In that pause lies your power, not God's power, not even prayer's power, not even any guru's power, your power to transcend karma. Right now, what is happening? Stimulus, no pause, reaction. How can you change anything? And 10-1, what we are doing, how we are reacting, is the very way we have acted to create this karma in the first place. Can we step back? Can we pause? Can we have samadhana with understanding? And can we increase that pause? So what does Bhagavad Gita teach you? It teaches you to increase that pause. Let's go back to the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna meets the Kauravas, falls down, collapses, cannot act. His response was, there's no gap, huh? He's fallen down. I'm ready to leave the battlefield. Fortunately for him, Sri Krishna came, created a pause by taking him in between the two armies. And he lengthened that pause. So much he lengthened that pause. 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, he lengthened that pause. And in the end, what does Krishna say to Arjuna? He does not say, oh, now I'm telling you, right? Do this, exactly do this. He says, I have told you whatever I needed to tell you. I have taught you everything that I had to teach you. The most famous words, my most beloved words of the Bhagavad Gita, especially as a teacher, yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. Now you do what you understand, what you know, what you want to do. My work is done. Comes back to, can we pray for others? Will it help them? Right? So the whole thing boils down to this factor, is that until we understand these teachings and are able to implement these teachings, especially while dealing with karma, to lengthen that pause. Respond, do not react. Write it on the mirrors. I wrote it in the mirror, on my bathroom mirror for years. Respond, don't react. Start with the little things. Start with the very little things. The slightest things that irritate you. Traffic jam. You're about to say something, stop. Increase the pause. Don't say it. There's no karma happening there. We want to transcend karma. It is impossible because we have a whole sanchita sitting inside. We've already discussed this in the last class that we shared. That's, imagine if you take one potli and say, this lifetime, I'm going to finish this karma, you cannot do it unless you have the wisdom. But even if you have the wisdom, unless you're implementing, and the best implementation for us right now is in increasing that pause. Respond, do not react. Whatever happens, however bad it happens, just respond, do not react. Okay. And the fourth, so there are four things, right? Steps to it. One is Viveka, one is Vairagya, one is Shata Sampatti, which we've seen all six. The fourth one is Mumukshutva. I think this is the most important for dealing with this whole subject of karma. Mumukshutvam is what? Is that thirst, that irrepressible thirst that in my one desire to know you, all other desires melted away. Something like that. That one obsession, that one, unquenchable thirst. Right now, what is our mumukshutvam? My bad karma should not be affecting me at all. In vain, you are standing in the spiritual lobbies. If you shift that mumukshutvam to, I want to transcend only all these karmas. Karmas will take care of themselves. Because what does Krishna say? As soon as you identify with the self, there is no karma binding you. Now that identification with the self is difficult. It is very difficult. We are the body, we are the mind, we are the intellect, we are going to act, we are going to think, we are going to feel. And more often than not, because of how fast life is coming at us, especially in the Kali Yuga that we are living in, we are not going to be very astute enough to mitigate that, right? So that is why, again, stay with the Bhagavad Gita. Every verse that we will take after we resume, take it back to your life and try and implement it there. We just become better and better and better at handling our situations without wanting to change them. Prayer works, yes. But like Rajesh said, I'm just saying it in a different sentence. Prayer never changes the circumstances. It changes the one who is praying. And when that person who is praying changes, the circumstances no longer matter. Very, very important thing to understand. So grace prayer, which we will need an entire session on how it comes in after enough purushartha with these four, with viveka, with vairagya, with developing these shatasampatti qualities within us, with developing that fire to know the truth, to transcend all of this altogether. In the Bhagavad Gita, only Krishna says that whether you do good, so our first step is stop doing Nishiddha Karma. We discussed that in great detail last class, whoever was present. Unfortunately, that class couldn't be recorded, I'm sorry. But we discussed this in great detail of, yes, we don't do bad karmas. We don't do Nishiddha Karmas. We do our Nitya Karmas, Naimittika Karmas. We do all of that. We do our Prashchita Karmas. So we stick with doing all of that properly. And how to do that properly, only the Bhagavad Gita can teach us. Though the verse is one and universal to Arjuna and the rest of us, when we take it home, you will be able to apply. I promise you will be able to apply it to your own life. So that is how we slowly and steadily come to that point of when we have handled our share of the work well, then grace does the rest. See, my teacher always says that self-realization is providential. Nobody can get self-realization. It's an effect. Effect of what? Effect of purushartha, which is prudential, which is your prudence. And where does our purushartha lie? In our day-to-day karma that we are doing, in our day-to-day karma, how can I do it better? How can you do it better? In chapter 2, we are going to come to that beautiful, most celebrated section of the Bhagavad Gita, which is called the Sthita Prajna section, which means the supreme evolved human being. From 54 to 72, we will do it. We do workshops and workshops on just that one portion. So when we read those qualities, yes, they seem impossible to begin with because they are of the ultimate human being in like God-like person in a human form, but they become our practice manuals. So a simple thing like, this whole thing of vairagya, that spirituality requires vairagya. Krishna says, no. Because Arjuna asks, If a person has all these divine qualities, can he sit in this world? Can he talk in this world? Can he interact in this world? Can he walk in this world? How does he even live in this strange world? So Vairagya, a simple quality, let's take of Vairagya. What does Krishna say? Move around like a tortoise in the garden. Have you all ever seen a tortoise? Ever? Try and go out of your way, at least watch a documentary or look it up on YouTube. You see a tortoise walking around. The minute there's a thud of a footstep next to it, I see this every time I go for my walk in the mornings to Botanical. Every day, this is a sight. And I purposely go and thump near the tortoise. It's walking, all its limbs free. It's walking. And I go and thump. In a half a nanosecond, all the limbs go in because it has sensed danger. So what is Krishna saying? Vairagya. He's not saying leave the garden and go and sit in some cave somewhere. He's saying roam about in the garden, but have that astute buddhi. See, all of this we need to study the Bhagavad Gita. It cannot be said in a half-an-hour session. You need that buddhi. The buddhi is that shell on top of the tortoise. The head, the four legs, and the tail is the senses, the five senses, and the mind. The five senses and the mind is what keeps taking you. Again, chapter 2 does a brilliant job with this. How the senses take you. The ladder of fall is there. How it rushes you into the world. In that, are you able to quickly have that intellect in place and retract all senses and mind into that intellect? That is how you handle karma. That is Vairagya. If you leave your situation and go and sit somewhere else, that karma is not nullified. It's coming back. But if you stay there and you're able to do this and then pause and then respond, then that karma is mitigated. So to wrap up the session, all I'd like to say is disassociation with the body, the mind, and the intellect, slowly, steadily. Kuru Bavadanam, Mahadavadanam, it says in the Bhaja Govindam. Carefully, very carefully, we start disassociating with, I am not the body. What is the best that the body can do in this situation? I am not my emotions. What are the purest emotions I can exude in this situation? I am not the thoughts. How can I unegoistically think in this situation? Slowly disassociating with that body, mind, and intellect. Keeping on reminding yourself, you are the Atma that does not do, that does not accrue karma. That itself will be your journey through life with the help of the Gita. And as Rajeshi put it very well in the slides, which I really liked, is that wisdom, you have to, first of all, you have to have Purushartha. You have to have wisdom. And prayer, I would just put it down to devotion. To understand that there is this beautiful cosmos in place. Nothing is out of whack. Nobody's trying to kill you, get you, whatever. The only ask of life is evolution. Evolution to the highest, to merging with yourself. And that devotion, which we will also study in chapter 12, is a very necessary part of our spiritual practices. Because until we have that, all of these things, we are working in the blind, right? We don't know whether karma is real. We don't know whether there's another life. We don't know whether we are coming back. We don't know whether any of what has been said in the last 1 hour is even true. What will keep us with the subject? Devotion. And how to develop that also, we will study in the Gita. So ardent request, stay with the Gita Odyssey series even after this finishes. And you'll be able to build your own castle of transcendence, the castle that is never touched by any karma in this life or after.